All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches Podcast, where we talk about everything going on in sports. And for the first Tuesday of the season, we got 2 wins. Both of us win. Both of us are happy, or all 4 of us are happy. Both sides are happy. It's a good feeling. I mean, it would be better for me if we won and you guys lost, but I'm happy for you guys that you guys won a game. That again won a game that you guys. I don't understand how you're winning the games that you're winning, and I don't understand how you're losing the games that you're losing, but here we are. And Brother James, I'm gonna start with you. Thoughts on your team
Okay,
and your new hat.
it's not new, but
Oh,
yeah,
It's nice. Like it.
All right. Uh, well, I'm kind of superstitious, so I didn't. Once they were winning, I didn't watch it.
what?
You know,
What?
well, because I was busy and I was doing stuff before the game started, and they was doing their thing, so I was like, okay, well, I ain't gonna jinx it.
Okay.
But I think we've always been that way. We tend to beat the teams that we should lose to, and we tend to lose to the teams that we should beat. Uh, I don't know if it's in the DNA. That's why I tell people if we make it to the Super Bowl, we win it.
But only
uh,
if people think you're gonna lose.
But I think it was a decent win. I think we could do a lot more. We can clean up a lot on offense. The defense did good. I think they got a little tired at some point, but I think we're gonna be all right. We tied with the Niners, so that's all that matters.
All right, Deacon Greg, thoughts on your victory.
Well, first of all, anytime the Raiders win, it's a great feeling. Our motto is just win, baby. We don't care how you win. They don't at the end they don't look at, well, how'd you win and what was no. They just look at the W's and the L's. That's all that matters.
There's usually 2 or 3 W's for you guys a year. So you guys are doing good.
We're doing all right. Okay, yeah, okay. But to the game though, things that I was impressed with. I was impressed with the defense. We had Max Crosby was out, and then Davante Allen was out. What I really was impressed with on the defense is that there were some guys that stood up that showed up and produced. Some guys that haven't been getting much playing time at all. Charles Sheldon, the one that got that last sack, number 49. He showed some great. They did a stunt move. He came up the middle and then he chased the quarterback all the way down to the sideline and sacked him on the last play, which sealed the victory. That was big time, and that's what the Raiders. We always have a tendency of leaning on our star players too much, and I think when you don't have your star players there and for these guys to step up, it shows a lot, and I think that can pay dividends moving forward. I have to give a shout out to the safety. Palomaro, Isaiah Palomaro. That's the nephew of Troy Palomaro, the legendary Steeler safety. That kid played a heck of a game. He was covering the center field, breaking up passes and stuff like that. And I think those things go a long way in building cohesiveness for your team and showing other guys that they could step up. What's his name? Tyrese Will, our number 1 draft pick a couple years ago, the first round draft pick, number 9, that hasn't been doing anything. He was getting good pressure in there on the D line. I was impressed with the whole D line. Offense is another thing. The running game has to improve. I think Jamar, our running back White, I think he should not be the starting running back. That Matt Morrison or something like that. I think Morrison is his name. He should be the starting running back. So they have to work on that. And moving forward, I think they're gonna. Just for these guys stepping up, the guys that were not expected to step up and get playing time that did that, I think that's going to go a long ways and going forward. We got the Broncos coming up. I think we can do it.
Yeah, that game's going to be like 3-6 or like 6-9 or something. That's going to be it's 2 teams with good defenses and crappy offenses. So I'm assuming it's kind of similar to the Jets Broncos game, which has got to be watching Rodgers on the sidelines at the end of that game. He looked like he wanted to shoot himself.
I told you guys a while back that Rodgers is a shell of himself. He could have flashes, but he ain't the same Rodgers.
Yeah. All right, Brother Bill, thoughts on our dismantling of a horrific New England team on Sunday.
Well, the 49ers did what they were supposed to do in 2 of the 3 phases. Offensively, stayed balanced, running the ball, passing the ball. I'm concerned about Brock Purdy scrambling. There's scrambling to try to make a play, but then there's scrambling where you at the risk of getting hurt. There was one play where I felt like he took an unnecessary shot, but I understand. I mean, he's what we've needed in a quarterback since Cap. Mobility, and most time can make good decisions with the ball. Running game, if you don't know who our running back is, you got to look it up because we've got a star running back. He runs hard all the time. I'm trying to find his name. I drew a blank and all the excitement looking at their stats. Jordan Mason, he runs hard. The other thing, again, what concerns me is our not so special teams. Once again, we've got a miscue on special teams. Garendo running to his own man, fumbling the ball. You got to clean that up at some point because now we're a quarter of a way into the season. Defense, much better on the run defense this week than last week. Held New England only 70-something yards. If the Niners stay balanced, 32 times rushing, 27 times passing, time of possession was even. That's a winning formula against an Arizona team who just got pounded by the Commanders in the running game. So if the Niners stick to who they are, they should be fine next week against Arizona.
So I got a quick question.
Does it have to do with the running into your own player on special teams because you enjoy
Well,
that?
it has to do with how y'all talk about the Niners.
Like
right?
Super Bowl champions?
What's the question?
Okay, the question is, how could you brag about that win against New England?
Because we won.
When I understand W's a W. I get it. But a college team could have been competitive against New England. And y'all beat them by what? 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, it was 30. That would be the same as saying that the Niners beating New England. You can make the same comparison, but going the other way with the Raiders losing to Carolina. How in the world do you lose to Carolina? These are professional. These are professional.
But the Raiders fan said that. How did we lose to Carolina?
Because you are what you are. That's why. I did say the 49ers did what they were supposed to do, and that is win the game. I have some concerns. I mean, sure. It should. Would you feel better? Would you feel better if the Niners put a 40 burger on them? I mean, win.
I would just call it like you see it. The deal is we won, but we didn't live up to the expectations of Ninerhood because the deal is you should have blew them out.
Well, you're never going to live up to. I mean, you're the Raiders, so trying to compare yourself to the Niners. That's an unfair comparison.
Then you got Joe talking about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know why.
We're going.
You sounding like that debate, trying to deflect, Bill. Don't.
I'm not deflecting.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question about your Niners. You just talking about your new star running back. So you writing McCaffrey off or what? So what do you? Before you answer, let me tell you, I've heard that Achilles injury is more serious than they thought he was, and it's a possibility that it's going to be a long journey coming back. So you ready to hang your hat on and move on to your new star running back?
I don't know what giving credit to Jordan Mason running game has to equate to throwing away McCaffrey. One doesn't have anything to do with the other. All I'm saying is we've got a running back who runs hard, is effective, and if the Niners stay balanced, they can take care of Arizona. I'm only talking about next week. I'm not talking about the whole rest of the season. I'm only talking about, you've said many times, one game at a time, so I'm taking it just one game at a time.
You're right, Bill. I agree with you. Maybe that should have been addressed to Joe.
It's me.
We're talking about Super Bowl. Y'all not going to Super Bowl this year. Come on, let's just be real. Let's be true. We all go to church.
Okay. As long as we don't have to play Minnesota and Minnesota, we could be going to the Super Bowl. That seems to be our no pun intended. That seems to be our Achilles heel.
Joe, you got a Niners jersey on.
Jennings, baby.
And a Padres hat. You got a Padres hat on? Really?
Hey, Joe showing a little bit of reservation. He usually on football Sunday especially when the Niners are playing at home. He's usually at church with his, at least the bow tie on. He didn't have nothing on this.
Yeah,
It's
he
because I had to do the
embarrassed.
thing. I had to do the voting thing afterwards. I didn't want to.
He,
Yeah,
he was embarrassed.
yeah, Bears. What? We were playing the Patriots. Of course, we're gonna beat the Patriots. Come on. I knew we were gonna win. It's like I didn't have to put it on. We're gonna win. It's the Patriots. So sticking to Crosby was out, which is I thought was going to be a bigger issue than it was. And granted, your dude stepped up, which is awesome because it shows that you have, like us with our running back situation, have good backups and can play without doing the hero ball thing where it's like Crosby will take care of it. Davante Adams was also out. Not that you guys use him for anything, but he was also out. And I thought that's going to be a big thing too, because then it's a defense doesn't have to account for him. Sounds like Davante's going to be way out because the Raiders today said that they are taking offers, and it sounds like all they want is a second and like some other player. So pretty much he could go anywhere that can afford him. The thought is one, who can afford him, because a lot of people need him, but who can afford him? And I think more importantly, because there's no way he's going to the Chiefs, who need wide receivers. Who will the Raiders trade with in order for him to go someplace? Brother Bill, I'm going to start with you. Give me like
well, number one, I don't understand. So either Deacon Greg or James has to explain to me what the Raiders expect to accomplish, how they expect to improve trading away Davante Adams.
Well, I'll answer that question because you need they're not one player away. Davante Adams is not. He's not moving the needle for the Raiders. You know, they are with their record. They're 2-2. They won without him last Sunday. And as a lifelong Raider fan, going all the way back to, oh my goodness, the Raiders. One thing I hate about the Raiders is they always hang their hat on a superstar, and everybody rattles around. You know that he's the heartbeat of the team, and so goes him, so goes the team. There's no I in team. You can't have that. I'd rather have a team that goes out there and plays the other team like they did last Sunday, and having guys step up than to have one guy that's this diva type guy that, oh, we got to get the ball to him. And then he's not happy because he's not getting the ball. That brings the whole team down. If he's over there on the sideline pouting, believe me, everybody is like, they're going down with him. So we don't, and to answer your question, you can get more, if I can get more picks for him, if I can get 2 players for him, I'll do it. I'll do it in a heartbeat. I'm not even worried about it. And they were entertaining, I was hearing an offer today, well, they just threw it out there. Send him to Atlanta we'll take the pennant, the quarterback.
Of course you would take, yeah, that'd be
Okay,
but then once you have a quarterback, you want Davante back because you have a guy that
we don't know. We don't want the, like I just said, we got other receivers that'll step up. You know, just like when the Kansas City lost Tyreek Hill, they're going to go. There's other guys that'll step up. Well, you can't hang your hat on a superstar. And if you're just a superstar away, now if your team is built and you just need a superstar, yeah, you bring in a superstar. But when you ain't built that way, hey, go on and bring in some more bodies in here. Let's get something done.
Okay, I understand. I guess I would just say for a team that already is struggling with its identity, if indeed he's the playmaker, still the playmaker that has in the past. I'm saying playmaker, not star, just playmaker, who's making plays when he gets the ball. Then if I'm the defense, that makes it even easier for me to defend you once he's gone. And so without an identity, I just think the Raiders are going to be worse off offensively without him.
Well, we had him and we didn't have an identity. So what do you, we didn't.
That's on the offensive coordinator. And your coaches have to get an identity for the team.
Well, I think a bigger issue is it's not like they have either of their quarterbacks that are like, oh, we need to get this ball to this guy and they can do it. Like they're like B- C+ quarterbacks. They're like good backup quarterbacks. They don't have like a starter. If they had a starter that could get the ball, I think I could see it being a thing, but like he's not even utilized in the offense the right way because they don't have the right offensive pieces to use him right.
I don't see that. When you
know what? I'm not worried about the Raiders anyway, so what do I care?
Well, I heard you guys want to try to trade Ayuk for him, so
I do. I said that at church on Sunday. I'm like, well, let's go. Let's make it happen. What? Oh no, never mind. You guys are in Vegas now. I was gonna say across the street.
We ain't got enough depends for Ayuk.
Yeah, we don't either. Watching him not separate at all the whole time he's running around. Oh, it drives me freaking crazy. Okay. So what team does he go to then? He's going someplace. Where does he go?
Atlanta.
You think it's
He's
Atlanta? But not
he's
for
gonna go to
Penix.
Miami.
You probably go to Miami with everybody else, all the other pissed off receivers.
Tyreek. We'll switch Tyreek for him.
That's right.
Then Tyreek's gonna get mad at you guys too because you guys have the
No,
same.
no.
Miami
See,
has.
with the cheetah, all he gotta do is run. We just throw the ball to an area and he run to it.
That's the same thing in Miami, and he's not. It's not happening.
Miami already has receivers though. They've got a receiver. They've got opposite Cheetah. They've got
OBJ's coming back.
Waddle. Yeah. Miami isn't in need and willing to give up what would be necessary to get someone like Davante.
They don't have. They do not have the money.
No, they don't. So to answer your question, Joe, I mean, I don't know what team. I mean, I still come back to the Steelers because they were the ones who were in the best position. Who, from what I understand, needed Ayuk more than other teams who were interested in him. And
Look,
so
then he goes to the Steelers and he's in the same position. You don't have a quarterback to throw him the ball.
100%. And so supposedly he said what team he wants to go to, but they haven't released what that team is. My guess it's the Jets.
wait, I thought the Steelers have Justin Fields. Last I checked, right?
Yeah.
He can't throw. That's why he's on the Steelers.
He trying to go to New Orleans.
He can go to New Orleans too.
But New Orleans has no cap space.
Yeah.
So it's like I mean, so the Steelers makes total sense because they were the ones that were really close with Ayuk, and they probably be a good team to trade with for the Raiders because you're going to get like a mid-round pick because the Steelers are always at 500, so you're going to get something in the middle. I don't know if the Jets have the cap.
We'll take the running back. What's the name out of the East Bay?
Yeah, but all you guys want is draft picks, which is even better.
Yeah, we're gonna get a draft pick and a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Raiders, whatever they get, they have to, this season is a wash. It's about what you can do to build on with draft picks for.
I know it's going to happen.
I
know it's going to happen. It's going to be a second round draft pick and Russell Wilson for Davante Adams. Watch.
We're going to the playoffs, Bill.
Playoffs.
I said before the season started, I would say nothing negative. When I say a wash, I mean, you know what you are this year, so you have to look to the future.
Okay, do
as well as you can with what you got for this year and look for draft picks in the future. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right, so either Steelers or Atlanta. Those are the two choices. You guys, nothing else? Jets? You guys agree Jets, possibly?
I don't think. Why would he want to go to the Jets? Jets got issues.
Rodgers.
I'm telling you.
No. I get it. But also he wanted to go to the Raiders, which didn't make any sense either. So
no, Carr was there.
Not great. Carr, Thank you. Carr was there. Thank you. Not good at making decisions. That's my point.
They were in college together.
Yeah.
Fresno State.
Yeah. Okay, so Chiefs also need wide receiver help. Pretty badly. And so I went through the list of potential wide receivers, and the one guy I think would work pretty well, but I don't know how much he gets paid. DeAndre Hopkins and I know he's older. I know he's not as quick, all that stuff, but the dude has hands, and the dude was an absolute nightmare every time we played him when he was on the Cardinals. So I could see, I think that would be a great match. Going over the potential wide receivers, like the top ones, Michael Thomas, but he's always injured, and seems like kind of a difficult personality to deal with. Second on the list is Hunter Renfrow. I know. That's why I'm glad you guys are here, because you guys lived it. To the Raiders guys, I was always under the impression that college and his first whatever couple of seasons that he's not a great wide receiver, but he's a good slot receiver, quick movements, get the ball moving, short yardage, total West Coast. Deacon Hell, I'm going to start with you because you had the strongest reaction. Why is Hunter Renfrow still a free agent?
Because he's done. Because he's done. And you're saying about a need for the Chiefs. They don't need a slot. They need somebody that can stretch the field.
They need everything. But
he's not stretching the field. And to get to your point though, Hunter Renfrow was that guy. He was that nice slot receiver. But if you guys don't follow the Raiders that closely enough, but he took a big hit in a game about 3 years ago, and he never recovered from that. He all that juking and all that stuff that he used to do was gone. And they gave him another year to try to recoup from it. Because the first year when he came back, he didn't do nothing, and they gave him another year, and he still couldn't do it. And he just, sometimes I don't know exactly how old he is. I don't know if it was age and that hit, but after that big hit, he was never. We should call him third and Renfro. He was third and no go after that. So yeah.
Was it just a concussion, or did he have like a leg injury?
It was I believe it was a concussion. I think it was a concussion, and
Jacked him up.
it was a big hit that he never wanted to take those hits anymore. So he started dropping the ball a lot. He get the ball and he
Get the
started
alligator arms.
Yeah, he wasn't
Okay.
making those catches anymore, and then he wasn't getting that little separation. They should do the little juke moves and stuff. He was a wash. That's why he's not on the Raiders.
Interesting. So if none of the free agents look good, their top 2 wide receivers are out. And granted, the guys there's fast guys that stretch the field. So where do they need somebody, because they're going to be going, because like Baltimore, if Baltimore really did figure it out, Baltimore's going to be there again in the AFC Championship game. Probably it's either them or the Bills, or the Raiders, according to you guys. So who do they go out and get that's going to, like, I mean, they have 2 spots that are vacant. Like, where do they go to get one spot filled?
I don't know the situation with Julio Jones, if it's in, why he's a free agent. Is it age? I just don't know. But I mean, the time he was at Atlanta, he was very reliable and he was consistent in that offense. But again, I didn't have the chance to kind of read up to see what his situation is, why he was released and so
I think
forth.
he's just old. I mean, I think it's because he was on I forget where he was last year, and it wasn't. It didn't.
Was it the Panthers? Where did he go?
I don't remember, but he didn't have the impact. And I think it's just he can't separate like he used to.
Yeah, he lost a step. He's not the same anymore.
So it's like, so the Chiefs have to trade for somebody, and it's like, where do they go? Because one, a team has to be willing to trade with them, knowing that they're trading to the team that could potentially go and win the Super Bowl. So it's probably not an AFC team. So it's an NFC team. But who's willing to, who sucks and wants to give up their good wide receiver? Raiders. That's it.
I don't know.
No, you said an NFC team, the Niners.
I know. They trade up. Oh God. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
We could trade. Who's number 10?
Trade
throw him on the bus because he's a rookie from.
Could you imagine trading Ayuk to the Chiefs and then watching him just crush it?
From Michigan. Who's the receiver guy from Michigan? He had the big drop in last week's game. Not this past Sunday. I'm drawing a blank.
The guy that shouldn't be on the team anymore. Yeah, I'm blanking too. I'm so angry. I can't think of his name.
No, we don't want that guy. They want Ayuk. That's who they want. So don't even think of that guy, Bill. Why would they want that guy?
We want them to have that guy in the Super Bowl and throw to him at the end of the game.
Maybe you can develop it. Sometimes a player, you put him on a different team, gets a fresh start. I mean, look at what Detroit's doing. We cast aside Sam Darnold, and look, I mean, you saw what he did, last night.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Part of it's the system, and part of it's the different team. And you got a good OC, so you never know.
Minnesota looks freaking fantastic. That defense is. When you have all these quarterbacks going, like, I don't know what's happening on the defense, when they, like, all they do is study film and they're going, I don't know what's happening. That's insane.
As good as, I know we're digressing, as good as Detroit looked offensively last night, I mean, that game was a shootout.
It was stupid.
And to be shootouts, if I'm a fan, I'm like, yeah, but I mean, are you always going to outscore the other team? If you score 35 and that's still not good enough to win, to me, that's a red flag, because you're not always going to be able to put up those kind of numbers, especially once you get to the postseason.
Well, and it was against Geno Smith. It wasn't against
exactly
Geno Smith. It's not like.
Well, yeah,
that was good ball. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, but it's still Geno.
He didn't come around.
Yeah.
Geno's playing good ball. And you talking about a shootout, Bill? What was the final? There was no shootout.
It was what, 40? 41, 35? 48-35. Come on, man. That's a basketball score.
They got the 35. I thought
it's 42-29.
Yeah.
Or Geno
Smith threw for 400 yards.
There were 10 touchdowns in that game. That's a shootout, bro. Come on.
400 yards for Geno Smith.
Come on.
Okay, switching to college football. So we have the Big 12 and the SEC merged, pretty much. the Pac-12 and the Big Ten pretty much merged. So we have a few pretty massive games every single weekend. Now the SEC and the Big Ten are talking about joining together for scheduling stuff. Like how massive, I mean, as for the consumer, there's like 10 weeks, 12 weeks of college football. It's cool, but like how massive can these conferences get? I mean, how like these games, like we already put the best teams together into basically two conferences. Now if they partner up, is that like the beginning of like a super conference where they just take the best of these two leagues and put them together? Because it seems wild jumping into that right after we just had these two huge mergers and the Mountain West grabbing every like straggling team that they can get or the Pac-12 grabbing all the Mountain West teams to try to build that back up into something that's kind of funny. But like how big can college games get? Like I feel like there's games pretty consistently throughout the whole day on Saturdays now, where you used to have whole weekends that were just wide open, and now every weekend's going to be like just stacked with games. It seems a little too big.
Never too big. Never too big. I mean, like you said, you get now you turn on the TV and you got competitive games. I hate it when you used to turn on and you get these guys, running 55. Who could score 60 on, some no-name team or something like that. So I like it. Go ahead and what they say, get in where you fit in. The little guys, they just got to play down there where they are. If you're good enough to play with the big boys, you get up there with them and play. And I think it's great for the fans that want to see competitive games that teams are actually going up against one another. Because like before, you never, SC never went to the big house and played Michigan and things like that. So, hey, at first I wasn't a fan of it because I was all Pac-12, SC, Pac-12 and now, but hey, I see the competitiveness of it and the good games. I love it. Go for it.
It's pretty
sweet. On top of that, it's going to bring a better protein when they transition, because they're going to get to go play against some big boys in the SEC and those things, and they're going to put some more butts in the seats to see the game, so they can be able to pay these players because they've been playing. They're getting paid now, so they got to find a way to market it and make more money.
Except at UNLV where they don't pay players. You see those two guys left, the quarterback and the running back left, so they could redshirt, and then UNLV still went out and absolutely demolished Fresno State. So they went. It's bad. It's a bad argument for those guys. I thought UNLV was screwed when they lost the quarterback. They absolutely destroyed Fresno State, and it's like, well, I guess they didn't need that quarterback at all. So it's funny talking about these good games, and I'm looking at this weekend, and there's not very many good games. There's the only.
I guess the main issue I have with that is, I mean, two thoughts. On the one hand, you could say, sure, good for business, good for ratings, money. I mean, I get the business aspect of it, but then you've got two conferences who cash in, but yet you have other conferences, mid-majors, who once again, get left out. And to me, the money is disproportionately slanted to the conferences like the SEC and the Big 12. You're not even talking ACC other than maybe Florida State. And I don't know what's conference Miami is in, but in Florida. But the issue I have with it is, to me, it just feels like the rich are going to get richer and the poor are just going to get poor because it's an uneven distribution of all the money that comes in from TV rights across the NCAA. That's my main issue with it.
Yeah, but so I think one thing, and granted, like I think the big teams that were big teams before, no matter what they do with the conferences, they're always, it's always going to be Bama and Michigan, Ohio State. It's going to be like the typical teams that we always see. One thing I think that's going to be a big disadvantage for teams is kind of like what you saw with like Texas A&M or maybe Texas like 2 years ago. Like you go out and you spend a bunch of money and you redo your whole roster with NIL money with people from all over the place that have to come in and buy in and then learn the offense and perform and do everything like almost immediately. Granted, having the 12-team playoff kind of alleviates that a little bit because more teams will be able to get, like, it's not detrimental to win your first 3 games like it has been. But you're still having to deal with dynamics where it's like, okay, are these players really going to play together? Do they really care about each other? Do they do this? Or is it because they're here only because they got like a $250,000 NIL deal? Where if you're slightly smaller, and I mean Clemson doesn't really do any NIL deal stuff, right? I mean, they're not, granted, they're not the Clemson that they were before, but you'll still have those teams. It's almost like when you would have those teams in the NCAA tournaments that they're all seniors, but they've all played 4 years, and then they're playing like the Kentuckys that have a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds that are playing together 1 year, and then they beat them in the playoffs because they can play as a team. I think you're going to see like the better coaches will rise to the top. And granted, you're not taking out Georgia or Bama or Ohio State. There's like the schools that are always going to be there, but there'll be schools in the conversation that I don't think were there before, because they play more of as a cohesive team, because they're not turning over, 65% of their roster because, oh, they want this and I know that one, they want that one, they want this one. So I think it benefits in one way, but granted, those teams that are generating money are going to generate a lot of money, ton of money. That's why I think every team should have football. Every school should have a football team, because that's why San Jose State should put more money into the football team, because you like football and sports has a direct impact on like the number of applicants, the excitement for the school, all that stuff. The thing speaking of like combining all these conferences, did you see that like the Stanford women's volleyball team has to travel 33,000 miles this year because Stanford and Cal, for whatever stupid reason, signed up with like the most difficult conference for them to get to. So everything's on the East Coast. So they're traveling 33,000 miles because they're just bouncing back and forth between Stanford and the East Coast. That's the crazy part to me. The amount of money they're spending on travel, and just the amount of like just lag that's got to be, and difficulties got to be on the students traveling like they're a professional team.
Yeah, speaking of San Jose State, I think San Jose State should have joined the Pac-12. Like you said, if you gotta improve your program to get people involved and fans in the seats. The stadium is always pretty much empty, and I think if they spend some money into that program. I know I heard a few years back they were talking about that they have to distribute the money throughout all their sports programs. But if you put that money in football, guess what? That money's going to be there for all your programs.
Football makes money, exactly. Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on Raiders in Denver, or any thoughts on Niners Arizona? We got 2 minutes.
Raiders with the win. We're going to Mile High Stadium. We're going to get that win, and I like playing them early because it's not the snow is not a factor. So I'm glad we're on the road early, and I think we can go up there and handle business.
Niners, stay balanced. Keep Kyler Murray make him have to beat you from the pocket. That's the formula, and make sure James Conner doesn't run crazy early in the game.
Yeah, Kyler.
Not so special teams. Don't cough it up. That's the I have to lower my standards that low, but they're like 0 for 4 right now, or 0 for 3 anyways.
What's that receiver that they have, the Hall of Famer's son that's playing for the Cardinals?
Marvin Harrison Jr. Yep, they got to watch him.
You better keep an eye on him.
Keep a safety over the top. Stay in cover 2, please.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully we're back here next Tuesday, both happy because both teams won again, which would be very nice. And if only one of us has to win, I hope it's us.